Howdy YouTube, Unky Joe here, Unky Joe's Playhouse. Today we're going to go off the topic of servers and virtualization, all that stuff. We're going to have a little fun. As some of you may or may not know, my spouse last month had his second bout of Bell's palsy, which is basically one of the nerve bundles that come out of the brain and come to the back and feed your cranial nerves and your facial nerves. Got infected, causes inflammation, pinches on the nerve, and then you get drooping. It looks like you're having a stroke, but you're not. Well, anyway, long story short, out of work for at least a month. The doctor finally released him to go back to work the other day. So on September 9th, he'll be able to return to work. But in the meantime, he was going stir crazy and driving me crazy because he didn't have anything to do. So, through the graciousness of one of my subscribers, Antonio Manuel Fidalgo, he graciously, he won actually a Raspberry Pi kit from Chris at Crosstalk Solutions a few months ago. And I guess he didn't have any use for it and thought it might be better served if he sent it to me. So, thank you, Antonio, sorry. I always want to call you by your middle name. Why is that? So, and Antonio's from Portugal. He's a longtime subscriber and supporting my channel, and I really appreciate it. So, he sent me the kit. It comes with the Raspberry Pi 3B, Model B Plus. So, it came with that. It came with the premium case for the Raspberry Pi, which is a little case right here. Nice little case. And it also came with a very important 2.5 amp power supply. They recommend a 2.5, at least a 2.5 amp power supply for the Raspberry Pi 3B Plus, which is what came with the Cana kit. And then it comes with a little warning page letting you know, hey, if you get a lightning bolt in the upper right hand corner, it's usually usually due to the software you're running doesn't support the 3B Plus. So be aware of that. So I ran across this program called Retropie, which basically loads, turns your Raspberry Pi into a game emulation machine that will do any number of console games that you want to play on there. Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, Atari 2600, Apple, you name it. They have emulators for it. There's the Atari 2600, the Atari 5200, 7800, Lynx, Atari ST, Commodore, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, Sega Genesis, Sega Game Gear, Sega Genesis 32X, MAME for all your old style arcade games, Sega Master System, etc., etc., Amiga, Amstrad PC, Apple, and then we come back full tilt to Atari. So the instructions, I'm not going to show you how I installed it, nor am I going to show you where I got the ROMs from. You'll need to find those on your own. And in addition, some emulators require a BIOS as well. I believe you can run Kodi on it as well. I don't know that I'd recommend running Kodi on such low power hardware. I strictly wanted this for a game emulation machine, just to play some of the old school games. So this is not going to be a how-to video or an install video for the Retropie. I'm just going to show you what I'm using to get mine up and running. And then we'll come back later and do an actual video, a setup video on the Retropie. You are going to need also at least I would recommend a 16 or 32 gig micro SD card. I got, let's see, who did I buy? SanDisk. Yeah, I got a 32 gig at Walmart for, I think, for 12 bucks, and it included the SD adapter card. But my USB reader will take both micro and full-size SD cards. So, and get a fast SD card. You'll be a lot happier if you do. The other thing you want to think about is controllers. Now, as you're about to see when I unveil the the case that I used for my Raspberry Pi, or for my Retropie, it came with one of these Super Nintendo controllers. So if all you play are Nintendo and Super Nintendo games and maybe Atari 2600 games, this will be fine for you. But if you're going to want to play some of the other advanced games, especially Nintendo 64 games, you're going to need a better controller than this. And I happen to have a couple of Xbox 360s in the house with wireless controllers. So what I did is I went on Amazon and bought a USB receiver for those Xbox 360 controllers. So this is one of the bad boys you need. It'll work with future wireless Xbox 360 wireless accessories, and you can use 4 wireless controllers and 4 wireless headsets simultaneously. So this would be what you need if you have a Microsoft Xbox 360 controller. You can also use your PS3 controllers on here. I don't have the link to the adapter, but this one will let you use it on either your Raspberry Pi or your PC. So once you bought it, consider it an investment. It's only 19 bucks. You can buy one refurbished for 12 bucks plus shipping. So you'll have to determine which one's best for you. But this is what I use. I use it with my Xbox 360 controllers, and it works really well. So just take a look at it real quick. We've got power in here through micro USB. Then we have HDMI out, audio out. If you turn it around to the side, it's got a Ethernet port. It's a 10100 1 gigabit. It has USB 2 connections here, and then on the bottom or the side here, you have the SD card inserted into the unit. Now, like I said, I've been testing this thing about a week now. I wanted to make it more, since this is what we're going to dedicate this to, is to the Retropie. I decided I wanted to look a little bit more like a game unit rather than just this case. And the problem with the Raspberry Pi is if you don't have a keyboard connected, how do you shut it down, that kind of thing. So that's what this video is going to be about today. We're going to have a little fun with the Raspberry Pi unit. So while I was playing around with the Retropie, I came across this video from a fellow YouTuber about this Super Pi case, which is a retro style Super Nintendo case for the Raspberry Pi. And I thought, oh, this would be perfect. So initially when I looked at it, they were out of stock on Amazon, so I went on eBay and found one that I could get on a slow boat from China, and I ordered it. And of course the next day Amazon notified me that these were now back in stock. So I ordered the one on the slow boat to China. It'll be here the middle of the month, and I got this one in on Friday from Amazon, so I thought we'd put it to good use. So it comes in a little bitty box like this, and so we'll toss that to the side and focus on the device itself. And there it is. It's a little retro style mini case for the Retropie. Even comes with a screwdriver. Now I'm told that these knockoff Super NES controllers are very well made on the Super Pi case. I've watched a couple of videos where the guys just raved about how good these controllers were. So in addition to that, I also purchased one of these Buffalo controller, classic USB controllers, and my business partner used them yesterday in one of, I was having him test the gaming system. He used it and he said it was excellent. It didn't feel spongy at all. And a lot of people that use the Retropie recommend that controller. Let me see if I can bring it over here and get it into camera view so you can see the differences. So there's the one that comes with the Super Pi case, and here's the Buffalo unit. It does have 2 more buttons, turbo and clear, so you get a few more buttons on it. Also seems to be well made. The buttons have a really good feel to them. Made in China by Buffalo. This one's made in China by Retro Flag is the company that makes that case. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to transfer everything here from the Retropie case into this one, and then I've actually ordered a new Raspberry Pi board for this unit because I want to keep one here in my office, so I've got some plans for it. Alright, so it comes with some well-written instructions. They're easy to follow. Basically, you're going to pop the Raspberry Pi in there. There's some screws that hold it down. You're going to connect up a couple of USB connections, a GPIO header, and then you'll screw everything down. And then on the back, it tells you where to put the screws in the back of the unit. So let's go over the unit real quick and show you. In the front, you have your USB connections for your ports. It has a really neat kind of novelty item here. This is the reset button, and this is power on and off. And then it has an eject button, and this is just a place for you to store your little SD cards, I guess. I don't think I'll be taking the SD card out of the unit anytime soon. And then on the side, you have a cover here for LAN and USB. Now, typically, I don't use wireless in my home unless it's a tablet or a phone. But with the Raspberry Pi, I'm going to make an exception. I'm going to go ahead and hook it up wireless because I don't want any cables hanging out the side of it. And then on the back, you have your power connection here, your audio, your HDMI out. And then on the side here is a place for to put your micro SD card in. So let's get this thing taken apart. Well, let's actually take apart this unit first. Let me go ahead and pop the lid off. And then there is a piece that pops, this piece pops off. See if I can do it without destroying this Raspberry Pi. This piece pops off like this. And then your Raspberry Pi, if I'm not blocking it with my hand, your Raspberry Pi is right there. So I'm just going to take that out. Now I've already put the heat sinks on my Raspberry Pi. It came with the Kana kit or Kana kit or however you want to announce it. So we'll just go ahead and put this back together and set it to the side. I'm just assuming, yeah, I can take it apart just like that. So there you go. Here's the, what is that for? Oh, wow, cool. So I just lost my slot cover, that's right. So it comes with a package of screws to assemble it, and little rubber feet to put on the bottom. So here's your GPIO header, here is and it's, doesn't look like it's keyed. Here's your two USB connections. Then you have your, where's the little switch here for safe shutdown. We're gonna go ahead and flick that to on. Now I'll need to, oh, those are tiny. I don't know if you can see how tiny those are, but I went ahead and flipped that to on. Now we'll need to load a script on the Raspberry Pi in order for this to work properly. But I want to go ahead and turn the safe shutdown on. So there you go. All right, so let's get this thing put together through the magic of recorded TV. Get my parts out here. So there's two black screws, so I'm going to assume that those go for to mount the Raspberry Pi down, and it looks like it's going to go in like this. And it most certainly is. So a couple of these USB will be plugged in now. Let's see where that GPIO header goes. So the GPIO header goes on the last row of pins. So it doesn't identify what color of wire. See here, it doesn't tell you what color of wire. Tells you a wire that's missing. Shows you a wire that's missing goes on top. So wire that's missing goes on top. I don't think so. I think actually it goes like this. It doesn't show that though. It shows the, oh no, it does show it like that. It shows the, okay, I don't know if you can see this, but it shows that the wire that is missing, it goes on the top. So that's correct. Okay, so I've got everything mounted. Got all the screws mounted, got everything plugged in, our GPIO header, our front USB ports. We've got our switch set to safe shutdown. As you can see, our ports are open on the side. They're also recessed. I don't know how well you can see that, but they're recessed into the device. So there you go, there's power on and off, there's the reset, the eject is working. We have our two USB ports in the front. So let's go ahead and pop this little cover in. You just put the top in first and then snap in the bottom. Make sure I got my screws all nice and tight here. The first time you put these screws in, it can be a little tough getting them in. But there it is in all of its glory. Now, the true test of any of these is to see how hard or easy it is to put these damn micro USBs in. Now, I don't remember. I think it goes in like this, upside down. We'll find out here. There you go. Let's see how easy it is to get out. Yeah, it comes out pretty damn easy. But it does go upside down, so slide that in there, and it looks like we're ready to power it on and see if it works. Alright, so it's all hooked back up, ready to go. Looks like it's working. My controller is working. I'm using the Xbox 360 controllers because we had them. If you look down on the lower right hand side, you'll see a green light in the lower right hand corner, and that is the receiver for the Raspberry Pi, so that you can use Xbox controllers on it. So, and I've already got some games on here, but what I want to do is go ahead and get the wireless configured because I have unplugged the network cable. So I believe you come into Retropie and come down to Wi-Fi settings. And I want to connect to a Wi-Fi network, and of course I want to use MCS, and let's see if it brings me up with a keyboard. Nope, it does not have an on-screen keyboard. So let's cancel here, let's connect again, let's try the guest. I believe it doesn't require a password. Shows it's connecting. We've got an IP address. It is on the 10 subnet, but that should work. So I would safely say, see if we can tab around here and tell it OK, or exit. So it looks like we're connected to a Wi-Fi. See if we can come in here and launch a game. Yep, looks like it's working. We have sound. Controller is working. So got it all together, got it plugged into the TV as you saw, and what did I do? I didn't follow the instructions and I loaded the wrong shutdown script. Oh, I'm sorry, a hot coffee is too good to pass up when it's sitting on my desk. So anyway, yeah, downloaded the wrong script for the safe shutdown. I just decided back everything up on the SD card and reload it. So that's what I did. I took the SD card out, backed everything up off it, all the games and the ROMs and the game save states. I reloaded it, started from scratch, downloaded the correct script for the safe shutdown, and bing bang boom, it worked. So it's a good lesson to learn, to download the right script. Make sure you're doing that correctly. What happened is I got caught up in the SSH connection to that Raspberry Pi, and was using the wrong password repeatedly. So I had to go actually sit in front of the TV and type in the little commands, and once I did that, all was well, and it's working great now. So there you go. We got it up and running. No problems other than, you know, loading the wrong script. And of course, I went back and corrected my boo-boo. Took care of that again. So big shout out again to Antonio Manuel Fidalgo in Portugal for sending me that, for donating that Raspberry Pi to the channel here. We've my spouse thanks you from the bottom of his heart, because it's kept him from becoming totally bored with all this time off from work. He's definitely ready to go back. So, and again, we'll do another video on the actual setup of the Retropie. We'll do quite a few videos. In fact, I've got another video coming up on doing game emulation on a Windows PC. That ought to be exciting as well, because I am currently evaluating a great piece of software. It just has me blown away. Keep in mind, the Retropie, the advanced games like GameCube or the Wii, those kind of games, even if you have ROMs for them, the Raspberry Pi is really going to struggle to play those games well, because it doesn't have enough oomph. It doesn't have a really good video card on there, and it doesn't have enough RAM to really run some of the... It even struggles with Nintendo 64 games. They will play, but you know, it struggles a little bit. So I'm looking into an option into building, you know me, I gotta have a project to work on. I'm looking into also building another retro gaming setup using Windows and a regular PC, so look for a video coming out on that as well. So there you go, YouTube. We hope you found the video entertaining and informative as always. Please give us a thumbs up down below if you liked the video. Leave your comments in the comments section. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. We always love new subscribers. This is YouTube's recovery period now that everybody's going back to school, so more people have eyeballs on YouTube, so we'll be producing a lot more videos here as time goes by. PayPal and Patreon, we take those if you're so inclined to donate. Remember, every penny you send to us gets spent back on the channel, making more new great videos for you guys. So I appreciate everyone's patronage. Special shout out to Antonio Manuel Fidalgo, again, for that generous donation to the channel. We put it to good use, as you can see, Antonio. So don't forget, folks, we will see you guys on the other side.